Movavi.
New beginnings is what I'm hearing today. New beginnings. Endings are really just new beginnings. That's been my experience. I used to think, I used to think endings were just that, right? Endings are just the end of everything. But now I look at things a little bit differently. Everyone is on their own spiritual journey and in their own part of that spiritual journey. So some of this may or may not speak with your spirit, and that's cool. That's okay. It might make sense to you. It might not, and that's all right. But what's on my mind and my heart today is new beginnings. Yes, we are in the process of new beginnings, growing, right? Do you remember those of you that have seen Alice in Wonderland? Do you remember when she was growing and growing and growing, and then she got way too big for that house? I think it was like the rabbit's house or something. It's been a really long time since I've seen it, but she took that potion, right? And of course, she wasn't supposed to have the potion, but she took the potion. She drank it, and then she grew and grew and grew and grew, and then she was too big for the house. Well, that has been my experience over the past couple of years in my spiritual journey, where I have just been doing a lot of healing work, and I've been growing and growing and growing, and so I've been outgrowing my environment, and I've been outgrowing certain people in my life and certain friendships, and in even positions at work, and all of these things, and that's okay, right? But I had to move, right? Because growth is all about moving. It's all about expansion, right? It's about expanding your awareness and your consciousness. So I mean, we can't grow if we're just stagnant, if we're not going anywhere. So just like Alice in that house, right? Like she's in this house, and she's way too big, and she's in the rabbit's house, and the rabbit's smaller, and she can't move unless she goes somewhere bigger. So that's been my experience over the past few years. And like I said, if you're in a different part of your journey, that's fine. That's okay. We're all in different parts of our journeys right now. So just take what speaks to your spirit, and don't worry about the rest, okay? But so I just want to say, first of all, thank you for being here with me. I want you to know that you are loved, and if no one has told you that today, let me be the one to tell you. You are loved, and you are protected, and you are safe. And I am so glad that you are here. So, is there enough space? If you're growing like Alice, right? If you're growing, is there enough space? Do you have enough space to keep growing, or are there things that no longer serve you in your life? Are there things that you've outgrown, that maybe are keeping you stuck? Maybe they're keeping you stuck in that tiny house. And maybe you need to think bigger, right? Maybe you need to think bigger. And just, you know, what I had to do during my journey was just keep an open mind, open ears, and an open heart in order to do that. And on this channel, we're going to talk a lot about my experience, strength, and hope, the wisdom that I have learned over the past, I don't know, a really long time, and all the things that I've gone through that I'm going to share with you all, and I'm very humbled and grateful that you're here with me. But today, like I said, I want to talk about how endings are really just new beginnings, and we can change our perspective and to think about it that way, right? And that really changed so much for me. That changed so much for me when I could just think about it differently. When I could just say, okay, well, I guess that was a lesson. So what is that trying to teach me, right? So in order to keep my mind open and my ears open and my heart open, I just looked for the lesson, right? So as before, I didn't really have much confidence, but now I do. So I have a lot of confidence. I have more confidence than I've ever had in my life by going through this spiritual journey. And if you're I don't know where you are in your spiritual journey, but if you've had that initial awakening where you can see a little bit clearer and you can hear a little bit better, and you have that different perspective, you know that it was no easy feat. You know that it was hard. It was hard, but also very much worth it. Very, very much worth it. I mean, our adversities make us stronger, right? With the things that we go through, the things that make us stronger. And I used to hear that all the time, and I'm like, I'm already so strong. I don't need to be stronger. Why? Why do I have to be stronger? But it's true. It's true. Like, life is full of lessons that I get to learn. I get to learn these lessons, and I'm so grateful that I get to learn these lessons today. And it's no longer like these things are happening to me. It's these things are happening for me. And wow, what a difference. What a difference, because just like 3 short years ago, just shy of 3 short years ago, actually, my attitude was pretty terrible. I was just full of self-pity and no confidence, no self-love. I, I was pessimistic. Endings were just endings for me. They were not new beginnings, but that's okay. I didn't know what I didn't know then, and I know what I know today. So here we are. But there are better days ahead, and that's what hope is all about, right? Hold on, pain ends. This too shall pass. You know, what does hope mean to you? Right? Really think about that. Let's think about that for a minute. I mean, you can look it up in the dictionary, and it's gonna probably say something about expectations, or I don't know, trusting in God, which I think is a wonderful thing. Trust in the God of your understanding, or whatever you call it, God, universe, source, spirit. It doesn't matter what you call it, as long as you believe in something. Um, if you're on a spiritual journey, you believe in something. I like to say God or spirit, but for me, I trust in something greater than myself. Just that, like, everything's gonna be okay, right? I can get through anything. I don't know if I've already said that, but I'm feeling called to say it again. Just hope is just so beautiful, because before before I woke up, I didn't have hope. That was hopeless. It was hopeless. But you might be feeling lost right now. You know, I just you might be feeling, you might be feeling a little bit lost, not really knowing what your purpose is. If you are, I would encourage you to just pray about it. Ask for guidance. Ask for divine guidance, or look up at the stars and just ask the cosmos. Whatever it is that you do to get guidance from the creator, from source, do that. Do that. I didn't used to believe in prayer. I mean, I prayed, but I prayed pretty selfishly. but today I pray every day, multiple times a day, and it's a beautiful thing, and it works. It works for me. Prayer really, really works for me. And I love it, and I get guidance all the time from the Most High, from God, and it's a beautiful thing. So I also have this thing around forgiveness. Some of you might be feeling very heavy on your heart, where there's like this something that's weighing you down, something from your past that you're just finding it very, very hard to forgive. And man, I'm with you. Like I've been there. I've been there. I had a resentment for pretty much 40 years. 40 years? Maybe 35 years. Something like that. Listen, it was a long time. I had a resentment for a very long time from my childhood. And I just recently, through this journey of starting to heal, beginning to heal and dig really deep, I was able to forgive. And it set me free. It was amazing. It was amazing. So if you have a heavy burden, if you have something that's heavy on your heart, that's holding you back, is something that's trapping you, in this cycle of resentment, you might want to let it go. And you might want to pray about it. You might want to ask for guidance. You might want to write it down. Why do you have this resentment? Who is this resentment against? Maybe look at your part. I think we're really good at looking at the other person's part. But when it comes to our part, right? When it comes to our part, like, what did we do? What did I do? That's where I used to be like, oh, well, no, I mean, I didn't do anything. It was the other person. But when I really, really looked, when I really, really focused, when I wrote it down, I saw that I had a part in every resentment that I had. I had a part in it. And then I could see it in black and white. I mean, pen to paper is like very, very powerful. It's very powerful. And then I learned from it. I could see what my part was, and then I was like, wow, I did. I had a part in this. And now it's like, oh, wow, how can I do this better the next time? How can I learn from this, and how can I not repeat it, right? I'm also feeling like some of you can be indecisive. Maybe fear is holding you back a little bit. Maybe it's like, I don't know if I want to do this because I might make a wrong choice. I've been there too. Especially going through this process, this spiritual awakening, this spiritual journey. There have been so many times where I'm thinking, okay, I feel like God is pulling me this way. I feel like my intuition and my heart is telling me to go that way. I'm just not going to move. Well, I'm here to tell you, not making a decision is a decision. Let me say that again. Let me say it louder for those in the back. Making no decision, not making a decision, is a decision. So basically, I was choosing to stay stuck. I was choosing to stay stuck. God was nudging me. My intuition was nudging me to go a certain way. And I basically just was frozen with fear. Which, by the way, is an illusion. This is what I'm coming to understand anyway. That fear is just an illusion. I mean, there's healthy fear. Like if a bear is like chasing me, of course I'm going to be afraid. But anyway, more on fear another time. We need a lot more time for fear. So so yeah, like, and I used to be so defensive, right? Like, whether I realized it or not, sometimes it was just my subconscious, right? I'd be like, oh no, 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 I'm good. I don't have a resentment. I forgave that person, and really deep down inside, I didn't. I thought I did, or I convinced myself that I did, but I really didn't. So I had to actually really take the action and do the work instead of just convincing myself and lying to myself that I was like, oh yeah. I mean, just saying the word I forgive you doesn't automatically like forgive the person, right? There's work involved. So another thing that I have on my mind and my heart today is boundaries. We talk about boundaries all the time. I hear about boundaries all the time. I came from having absolutely no boundaries. I didn't have boundaries until like 3 years ago. Not even 3 years ago. So I learned that I had absolutely no boundaries with myself, and I had no boundaries with others. And I learned that you teach people how to treat you. And having boundaries for yourself and actually sticking to them is very, very important. And then having boundaries for others and actually sticking to them and standing on them is very important. So how do you do that? Right? How do you do that? Well, one, you have to communicate it. So I used to do this thing where I'd be like, well, they should know my boundaries. I should not have to communicate it. No, no, people don't have superpowers. I mean, some people have superpowers, but reading minds is that's no, it's not a thing. So communicate your boundaries very clearly, and don't waver. Do not waver. Stand on them. This is my boundary, and do not cross it. And if you cross it, then I'm sorry, we cannot be friends or XYZ, whatever the boundary, crossing the boundary consequences. But stand on it. That's very important. I learned to stand up for myself. I mean, yeah, it might be uncomfortable, but I'd rather have an uncomfortable conversation than suffer like years and decades of being taken advantage of. Listen, no is a complete sentence. No, period, is a complete sentence. And that is something that I had to learn very late in life. But I learned it. And that is what is important. Yeah. So this powerful transformation, this healing and growing that you're doing, it's a beautiful thing. And if there's not enough space, you gotta think bigger. You gotta move. Gotta grow. Like, growth requires movement, right? Don't be afraid to think bigger. I used to think so small. I used to limit myself so much. Not anymore. Not anymore. So, guys, I'm really glad that you're here. And I'm really glad if you're still listening. Thank you. I'm very grateful that you're here. And just keep shining your light, you know? Keep staying positive. keep shining your light from within. Don't don't dim your light for anyone. Okay? Don't dim to fit in. You don't have to fit in. You were not meant to fit in. Okay? You're amazing. You're beautiful. You're handsome. You're intelligent. You're awesome. And don't let your ego get out of control, though. Just saying. God loves you, and so do I. Until next time.